Hello, I'm Brad Hutchings. This is the Mmojo Knowledge Appliance. Today, we're going to use the Mmojo Knowledge Appliance to improve the Mmojo Knowledge Appliance. Ready? Let's go. Here I VNC'd to my Mmojo Knowledge Appliance. I want to show you how I change the model that it uses. And right now what I do is I run a script. So I'll double click Choose Model, execute it in Terminal. This thing comes up, it asks me which model I want to run. So I want to run Google Gemma 4B Instruct. So I'm going to hit 2, enter. It's going to stop the old process, make sure it's stopped, it's starting Mmojo server again, and it's finished, it's running that model. All right, as you can see, that's a little bit cumbersome because a user has to VNC to the Mmojo appliance before they can change the model. So what I'm thinking is it would be better if I had a web application that did that, so they could just do it from their web browser. So we're going to do the start of that now. So this project is a proof of concept. We're not going to implement the whole thing. I'm familiar with Python. I'm familiar with Flask. Flask is a web server built in Python. I'm familiar with how to set up a Python environment on a Linux box, but I don't remember the details. So we're going to use the LLM to come up with the details for us. I'm not a very good Python programmer, so I'm going to actually have it write a short Python program, which I'll use as a starting point for the eventual system. And then finally, there's a couple of details we're going to have to work out in order to make it accessible to the outside world, meaning to devices on our home network. And I'm going to use an LLM, our Google Gemma, to do that as well. So here we go. First thing, we're going to figure out how to install PyEnv on Ubuntu Linux. Now this is a query that I ran previously and then bookmarked the answer for. That's why it's answering it so fast. But it gives us the details that we need. So here are the instructions that Mmojo generated for me. In these instructions, it tells me a few things I need to do. Sudo apt update, sudo apt install curl and git. I already have those. Next, download and install the PyEnv script. So I'm going to do that. After running this, I need to source my bashrc file, so we'll do that as well. And then we should use PyEnv to install versions of Python that we're going to use. And I have commands pre-selected to do that. So let's open a terminal, maximize it, and let's install PyEnv. All right, remember we had to source .bashrc. We did that. Next, we're going to install 2 versions of Python. And I'm going to do 3.13 and 3.12, the latest from those versions. This takes a minute, so I'm speeding this up in post. All right, that took a while. As you can see, both versions are installed, 3.12.11 and 3.13.5. Let's set our global version for PyEnv to 3.1.2, and that paste got messed up. And I have an extra dash. There we go. Next, let's go into the directory where this is going to live. It's called Mmojo admin. So I'm going to paste there. And we're going to set the local version for PyEnv to 3.1.3. And we'll check it. And it looks like, yeah, we're running Python 3.13.5. Okay. So now we got to go create our app. And I'm going to come up here to Python web page, make a Python web page that lists Giga files in a server directory and lets the user choose which file. Okay, again, I ran this completion before making this video. So this is a bookmark, but this is the result it gave me, and we're going to go through and use this when it's done. All right, so it gives me some Python code. I'm going to put this in app.py. It gives me an HTML template, which I'm going to paste into templates index.html. It gives me some great instructions. I got to install Flask. I need to change the directory path in the Python code. I need to make this index.html template file, and then I need to run the script. So let's go do those things. So we're going to install Flask, and we're going to make that templates directory we need. Next, we're going to go get some Python code. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it into a file, app.py. Okay. Remember, there was that server directory we need to change up here. And our server directory is where Mmojo server lives. Okay. All right, next we need to get that index.html template file. Here it is. I'm going to copy it. And this is going to be inside templates. And I will paste it. All right, we're ready to run this. So I'm going to type Python app.py. And you'll notice that this starts up and it's running on my local host. Well, I want to access it from the computer that I'm doing this video on. So we're going to make a change to it, and we're going to use the Mmojo to help us figure out what change to make. So I'm going to stop this process, and we're going back to the Mmojo. How do I specify the port and external connections in Flask? It gives me a section on specifying the port. That's helpful. It also gives me a section on specifying external connections. What I need to do is I need to bind on all available network interfaces 0000. So here's the code for this. Host is 0000, port is 8000. So, app.py. All right, that looks great. So let's go ahead and run this again. You can see this time that it's running on 192.168.50.252, which is the IP address of the Mmojo Knowledge Appliance. Let's open a new tab, and there's our Giga files that we have available. If you paid attention early in the video, you'll notice we had Google Gemo 4B, 1B, and Metalllama 3B available to choose in our little script. So this is good enough for me right now. What this gave me is an outline for how I'm going to solve this problem. I will probably hook the Python app up through Nginx, because I already use Nginx in order to forward port 80 to port 443 where Mmojo server runs. And then I don't have to expose an additional port to outside users, even though this doesn't have to be secure. It's running on people's home networks. It's not taking incoming requests or whatever. But I've got a good head start on this. I have absolute freedom in how I develop the Mmojo Knowledge Appliance. This is an example of how I actually use AI in my software development. It's good at sample code. It's good at helping me figure out how to do things. It runs on an appliance I sell for $250. It sips electricity. It doesn't put my ideas or code in the cloud. A bigger point here, whatever you do with AI, AI is not about the answers it gives. I know they sold you on that, but they're wrong. If you believe them, you will be disappointed. AI is about the journeys you already know well. It can make them easier. You're still in control. You're still the point man on discovery and implementation. I'm Brad Hutchings. You have a great day.